Hi, everyone. It is Heather here with schoolhouseteachers.com, and I am here with Sheila Shiravalati. She has a background in biology and environmental science studies, and she loves helping others learn to succeed in and enjoy science and math. She is actually one of the lesson designers for schoolhouseteachers.com, and I am so excited for her to share with you about some of the experiments that you can use as a schoolhouseteachers.com member. If you are a member, please continue watching this, share this with your friends, because this is a great opportunity to learn about what is available as a schoolhouseteachers.com member. And also, this is a great time because we are in the middle of a Mama Bear sale. Let your friends know and use your affiliate link so you can make a little extra cash and you can let other people know about our incredible resources. So get the word out, share this video, and make sure to watch this through the end because Sheila has some incredible resources to share with us. Hi, Sheila. Thank you for joining me today.
Thank you, Heather.
Well,
So
Sheila,
do you want me to just go ahead?
go ahead. I'm
All
so
right.
excited to hear about what you have to offer. I know you want to begin with one of the experiments from your classes. Can you
Yes,
share this with our viewers?
sure. So I live in New England, and in New England, of course, right now is the time for leaves to change color. So we have a little experiment that's actually in the botany course that you can do very easily to learn about why leaves change colors. It's a chromatography experiment, and it doesn't take very many uh, resources to be able to perform. So for this experiment, it's about, Heather, can they see me? Let me see. I'm just going to show you this. So we've got some leaves that change color, of course, and some of you may live in areas where the leaves do change colors, and some may live where they do not. But even all of the green leaves contain different pigments. And so in order for a leaf to turn color, basically some of those pigments have to break down. And that is why in the fall we get these beautifully colored leaves. We get some red leaves, we have yellow leaves. And in order to see these colors, they're like hidden colors which are within the leaves, we can do a little experiment that's called chromatography. Chromatography sounds really super scientific, but basically all it is dissolving pigments in a liquid, in a solvent, and then letting them move through a filter through capillary action. So I have behind me here set up an experiment, this experiment that was on our botany page here. Heather, can you see my experiment here?
Yes, let's
Okay,
make
good.
you bigger so we can absolutely see that.
Thank you. All right. So basically, all it takes is some green leaves, some alcohol, like rubbing alcohol that you probably have in your bathroom, or if you're in a pinch, you could use nail polish remover because that has a good solvent in it called acetone, um, and a couple of little containers. So this one I've already prepared. It's just a little glass jar. You take some leaves, some green leaves, not already colored leaves. I said I live in New England, so some of ours are kind of turning well, they're mostly already turned. So it was a little struggle to find some green leaves, but take some green leaves, chop them up tiny, and put them into a little container with some rubbing alcohol, just basic rubbing alcohol, or else some nail polish remover. And then cut out a little strip from either paper towel or a coffee filter. Coffee filter works really well, but I didn't have any today. So a little strip from a piece of paper towel. And you can see my setup here, kind of a funky setup. Usually I do this just in my kitchen, hanging from the cabinets, but this works here too. So you'll just put your piece of filter, whether it be coffee filter or paper towel, so that the tip of it just barely sits in the liquid that you have mixing with your leaf bits. I actually usually like to leave it about half an hour before I put the filter in, just to allow those pigments, the colors within the leaf, to dissolve in the alcohol or in the acetone. And then you just leave it and see what happens. From this far away, it's a little hard to see. I'll show you closer in a moment, but you can definitely see that the liquid is moving up through the filter, through the paper towel, um, just via regular capillary action, just the absorbency of the paper towel that you would usually have. And as this continues, I'll take this one off to show you. As this continues, you can see that bands of color are separating. You can see those big green bands. Of course, that's the green color in the leaf from the chlorophyll. And then above it, you can sort of see there's some yellow and orange that are emerging. And so the leaves that I put in here were just pure green. I didn't put colored leaves in here. And the reason that this happens is that some pigments are bigger than others, so bigger and heavier, so it's harder for the liquid to carry them up through the filter paper or the paper towel. So if we let this run longer today, it will probably, the bands will move up higher. The greens usually stay lower because they're a little bit larger, and then we'll probably get some yellows and oranges that come out. If you were to use maybe a sugar maple, or a tree that ends up turning beautiful red colors, even before it turns red, you'll still see those red bands from having cut up your green leaves, because those pigments are there, but they're just hidden by the chlorophyll, the green, because there's so much of the green in there. So that's an experiment that I really love to do in the summertime, because this time of the year they're already turning, but you can see those different colors that are available within the leaves. So that was in the botany course.
I love that, Sheila. I mean, these are materials that any parent can find either in their home or a local grocery store. And like you said, I know we're in our peak season right now, so it might be hard to find those green leaves, but they're there. And I love this. This is just so incredible.
And you can really do it with other materials. So I just love chromatography. So I don't even have kids at home right now, just me. My kids are at college. But I did it with grapes, like with Concord grapes, that dark purple color. And you can separate it and see like there's bands of purple,
Wow.
blue, light blue. You can do it with ketchup. You can do it with
Wow.
different things that are colored. Yeah. So it's pretty fun
I
activity to do,
love that.
chromatography.
That is so great. It's so fun. And I have 4 boys. I do have a girl, and she loves hands-on experiments too. So just having access to experiments like this, a lot of people think that schoolhouseteachers.com is just worksheets that you print out, and that couldn't be further from the truth, because there
Right.
are just so many activities. We want the parent to be the teacher, and so it's just resources available for parents to use with their kids. And there's even tutorial videos. And I know you have one. Can you just explain a little bit about the one that you have just for parents? Um, I won't say
Sure.
what it is. I'll let you explain it.
Sure. There's one on schoolhouseteachers.com about microscopes that I'm talking to parents about how to find and purchase a good microscope that you can use with your students from all different ages. I just kind of point out different features on microscopes, as well as give a few tips of how to find really good microscopes for a lower price than you might expect. So that's on there.
That is wonderful. Well, I know we also have the option to talk about World Book. And this is something that we, as a schoolhouseteachers.com member, have access to. I believe there's 8 World Book libraries that is available to schoolhouseteachers.com members. Normally you'd have to pay for it, but as a member, you have access to this. Can you talk a little bit about some of the science resources that are available through World Book?
Sure. Um, there are a lot of really neat ebooks on there and other material on there, but today I'm going to just tell you a little about some of the ebooks that I like that are on World Book. A lot of them can really enhance a science curriculum, not just for little kids, but also for older students. So I'm just going to walk you through how I would access that world book, the library, because sometimes it might be a little bit, if you don't do it all the time, you might kind of forget. So I'm going to start out here on my regular homepage for Schoolhouse Teachers. And I would just go to, I like to just go right to, there is a link right here, World Book. I don't usually go that way. I usually go a harder way, but there we go. Okay, so right on this page, you can scroll down and click this section that says to access the World Book resources. It gives you the website and your login name and the password. And the password changes periodically. So if you find you can't get in on your old password, just double check and make sure you have the same password, the correct password. So go ahead and click on that. I already have my password in there. And it'll take us to, yeah, there we go. My Wi-Fi was a little slow. It will take us to all of these options. There are all kinds of really neat informational things on each of these tabs. The one I'm going to show you is within the ebooks section. So if you click on the ebooks section, they're organized with a whole bunch of different topics. I want to show you some science resources that are kind of in, not really hidden, but they're not as obvious and easy to find as you may think. There is a nature and science section, which has a lot of course, nature and science topics. But there's this really neat section on here that is, oops, let me scroll over a little more. It's under this one. You can see it. It's called Crafts and Activities. And under crafts and activities, there are a lot of these little kind of science activity books, like this one right here. Let's see, those are fun with numbers. I'm looking for, all right, here's one about learning about matter. And if we go to this little one, it brings us to this book. Let me expand my screen a little bit so you can see it better. And this is a book all about matter. And it has, I'm going to go to a page that I can show you an experiment with. It has experiments. It has text, of course, so you're reading information about matter, but it's full of experiments too. So here's one that I always love. It's using food coloring and water. So pretty easy. Cold water and hot water. And you just take a jar of water that's very cold water, a jar of very warm water, and put a drop of food coloring in each of them at the same time, and just let them sit and observe and see how quickly the coloring mixes in. It's a great illustration of molecules moving all the time, because you don't have to stir it. It just will self stir as the molecules are moving. And it's also a great illustration of molecules moving faster in hot water versus in a cold water. So that's an experiment that I really love. So again, that's just in the matter one. Back to our world book bookshelf here. Another one of the ones in this like little surprise section, crafts and activities, is learning about plants. I'm just showing you some of my favorite experiments. I like to do experiments. So if we go to this one, for some reason the table of contents isn't clickable. So bear with me. You'll just get a quick preview as I go through here to the page that it's on. There's a really fun activity here. This is great for science fairs too. If you're ever involved in a science fair, this is a great science fair activity where you can make this calls it a plant workout, or sometimes I call it a plant maze, where you're growing a bean plant and putting little barriers above it so that light only comes through a certain area. And the bean plant will grow so that it fills and goes in the direction of light. So that's a fun one.
I love that. That is so awesome. I could just envision how kids would have so much fun with that.
It is. It takes a while, so but you have to be a little patient. But it's a fun one to see them growing along there. One other one that I have that I brought stuff down here with me to show you is learning about accessing this the same way through the ebook. It's called Learning About the Sun, Moon, and Planets. And this one answers your question that probably everybody asks is, why is the sky blue? So I have it here to show you how quick and easy this one is. This one is better done in a dark room. So it's not going to be quite as impressive, but hopefully you'll be able to see what I'm talking about here. All right, so I have a jar of clear water and a flashlight. So, so if we look through with the flashlight, you can see that it's just, you know, normal clear water. But if we add milk, so I just have nothing special, it's milk, and a dropper. If you don't have a dropper, then you can just use a tiny drop from a spoon or whatever you want. So I'm just going to put a little dropper of milk in here, stir it up, which once again, you really should never stir with a dropper, but that's what I have with me here. So once you got milk in there, it looks cloudy because those milk particles are in it. But if we shine the light through it, it has a blue. Let's see if I can shine it so you can see. There we go. You can see the blue as the light scatters um, from the particles that are of milk that are within there. So that's a kind of, it's way more impressive in a dark room too. So
That is awesome. That is so cool.
yeah, thank you. So, and that's kind of an easy one, very easy. They're all that whole series that's within. Let me go there again. That whole series. So I'm going to the sign in page again, and then I'm going to go to the ebooks when it catches up to me. So that whole series that's within that crafts and activities section. Why did they organize it there? Who knows? But that whole series of learning about animals, learning about energy, forces, and motion, these are really full of fun activities, not just for little kids, but also for older kids. It's a great supplement, easy to find on World Book. So even if you're working in a different course and you want something to add to it, I would say check these out. But before I go, I also want to show you one other set of books that I really like. And this one is I'll show you what I'm talking about first of all. They look kind of they're not necessarily elementary. The picture that it shows um, looks a little elementary, but I would say it's for older students as well. It's under the health and human body section, and it's a whole series. These that look kind of silly with these little illustrations here. Um, but if you look at them, they're kind of like graphic novels. It's set up that way, like in that style, and it has great information, like all the stuff that you're learning in biology or anatomy and physiology. It just illustrates with these fun illustrations, and so you could definitely use them with younger kids, but I like these for older kids too because they're, sometimes to just catch an interest that way and to be able
Yeah.
to see it that way.
Help
So
them see
that's
it from a different perspective. I love that because we do
yeah.
offer anatomy and physiology, and this would just be a great complementary resource to go along with that.
Yeah, totally. So that's within the health and human body section. So, I mean, there are probably even some on here that I haven't found yet. But I would recommend just looking through the different offerings on here because this is not just in nature and science, this is in health and human bodies, and the other one was in crafts and activities. So there are a lot of really neat things that you can use to enhance your science curriculum and just fun. Like
Yeah.
sometimes we just do them for fun.
It's true. And when we hear 8 World Book libraries, they're libraries. It doesn't mean we have access to 8 books. I mean, these are
Right.
complete libraries with so many resources. Like you said, you haven't looked through them all. I know I haven't looked through them all, but there's just a vast variety there, and it's definitely an excellent resource. And so we want all of our members to know about this, and also those who are considering schoolhouseteachers.com. This is a great opportunity. I don't know about you, but when I go to the library, like encyclopedias, they're just not really a thing anymore. Everything is online. So having this accessible for kids is incredible because they're not just going to Google and just searching up anything. These are kid friendly materials that our kids can do their research on, and the materials are easy to find. So thank you so much, Sheila. I just absolutely love your experiments. I love your enthusiasm for science. I love everything that you shared with us about World Book. Do you have any advice for parents who might be a little nervous about teaching science in their homeschool? Do you have any encouraging words, having graduated some kids already? Do you have any encouraging words for parents just getting started?
Sure. I think science is so fun. Like, I know some people might be intimidated by it, but it's so much just all around us. Like, it's very applicable, and I think that my advice is, even if you're nervous about it, try to just see it as fun, and you can always back off and just look for some activities and do some activities if you feel like a topic is kind of sliding from you, or not quite catching it. And then once you are actually working in different science areas with your students, it's so easy to just see things all around you, when you're in the car, or when you're outdoors, or when you're somewhere. um, I have a student who I work with who is all the time saying, "Oh, I heard something about this on the news. This is what we had talked about in chemistry class." And, I think if you look outside of just the curriculum and make it more applicable to the real world, and look for places that you see things that are going on that are related to what you're studying, it makes it a little bit more exciting and easier to retain.
And it totally counts as science. Some people
Yeah.
say, "Oh, you can't go for a walk in the woods and talk about the changes of the leaves and the patterns of seasons," but it absolutely counts because that's what kids are going to remember.
Right, right.
We
And if
have
you have a child who goes to the doctor a lot, if you have a student maybe who,
a
who has an opportunity to be going to specialists and doctors a lot, that's a great way to really tie things into what you're learning too. The whole family can learn about right along with them. And doctors seem to really like when students ask questions too. They like to be able to say, "Oh, you kind of know what this is about."
Aw, that's really good advice, Sheila. That's really good. Kayla, she mentioned my kids would love these experiments and resources. Thanks so much for sharing. Very helpful. So, yes, thank you, Sheila. We
You're
just
welcome.
appreciate your time, and we just thank you for all that you've contributed to schoolhouseteachers.com, all that you do to help homeschoolers fall in love with science again. So,
My
thank
pleasure.
you and have a wonderful day. Bye,
Thanks,
everyone.
Heather.